The CEO of the world's largest Bitcoin exchange is currently sabotaging Bitcoin on Capitol Hill. Well, at least that's what the allegations are. And we all know that Coinbase hasn't been a friend of Bitcoin for many years now. But what they're being accused of today is potentially the worst offense they have ever made, especially from a first principles Bitcoin is money perspective. If this is true, it is truly not a good look for Coinbase. So I'm going to start the saga where it initially started, which is from our boy Marty Bent from TFTC. And this is the initial tweet. It happened basically right when we went live on yesterday's show, and then all of the backlash. So here's the initial tweet, ground zero for this accusation, for this speculation. And here's Marty Bent, and he goes, I'm hearing that despite all the efforts and lobbying for Bitcoin de minimis tax exemption, it's none other than Coinbase trying to nuke it behind the scenes to push stablecoins only. Apparently, they are telling legislators that, quote, no one is using Bitcoin as money. A de minimis exemption for Bitcoin is a handout that will be DOA. So, from our perspective as Bitcoiners, you guys heard me say this on the show a lot of times that, hey, if Trump really wants to go down as the de facto Bitcoin president, then what should happen is the elimination of capital gains. If that happened, I think Bitcoin adoption would go into overdrive. It would go parabolic, because then you could actually use Bitcoin. And then people would realize, hey, this Bitcoin thing is better for payments. Oh, wait, this is better money. The elimination of capital gains on Bitcoin, from our perspective, because we believe Bitcoin is money, would be the ultimate game changer here, because you could use it like you use the dollar. You don't have a capital gains tax, or rather a capital gains loss on the dollar when you use it. We want, as the Bankers Association keeps saying, as the banking lobby has been saying in regards to the Clarity Act, we want the level playing field here. So this accusation coming from Marty Bent, which I do have some other tweets here from what he said, multiple sources, is saying it looks like that Coinbase is currently in Washington, D.C., fighting the idea of Bitcoin as money. And remember, Coinbase is one of the biggest influence in the quote-unquote crypto lobbying group. I've been showing you a lot of the people that are going to these meetings, the exchanges and the individuals behind the lobbying groups for crypto. And a lot of them, as I've mentioned on the show, are a lot of these shitcoin exchanges. Oh, wait, hold on. Okay, I made it past the first 2 minutes. A lot of these shitcoin exchanges, and this is why I keep saying I'm really not that bullish on any favorable legislation coming out of Washington, D.C., because there's not enough Bitcoiners in those rooms. Yes, technically, they're Bitcoiners, whatever, but they're not the hardcore type. I want to see the Pierre Shards or even Jack Dorsey there. He put his hat in the ring on this one. I want to see real Bitcoiners in these rooms, because when you're crypto shitcoin adjacent, you really have alternative motives, alternative incentives, and this could be the case. And this is where it leads me into Marty's next tweet, which really lays out the incentive structure here and why this potentially could be the reason for Coinbase actually fighting Bitcoin as money and fighting this de minimis tax on Bitcoin. And for you guys that don't know, a de minimis tax is basically saying, hey, if you use, X amount, if you sell or use X amount of Bitcoin, then you don't have a capital gains tax on it. It's this idea that, hey, if we eliminate a little bit of the tax on Bitcoin under a certain threshold, then maybe people will be allowed to use it. Maybe more people will use it. And as much as I believe that we should go further than that, maybe I'm an extremist and I'm like, I want to see it just completely gone. A small win is a small win. And maybe we ain't going to get the whole cake here, but we'll take a small win. Now it seems like we might not even get that small win here. So here is the further tweet from Marty Bent or TFTC, and he goes, Coinbase, again, is quietly lobbying to kill Bitcoin's de minimis tax exemption. The company reportedly told legislators, again, no one's using Bitcoin, and that a Bitcoin de minimis exemption would be DOA. Basically, if we came as the Bitcoin lobbying group, as the Bitcoin industry, and we start talking about the eliminations of capital gains, that essentially the legislator would throw this out and be like, this is not a level playing field. This is never going to happen. You guys are dreaming. You guys are in fantasy land. Get this out of here, or else nothing else is going to pass. That's the Coinbase kind of idea, or at least that is what Marty Bent is saying, his sources are saying. Meanwhile, they're pushing for the exemption to apply the de minimis capital gains tax only to stablecoins, specifically regulated dollar peg stablecoins like USDC. Now, on the surface, a very rudimentary, surface level, elementary look at this idea of, hey, instead of a de minimis tax on Bitcoin, which I think should be further, we should do a de minimis tax on stablecoins. Now, if you aren't as initiated, if you aren't a true Bitcoiner, maybe this makes sense to you. From my view, though, and probably from your guys' view, if you're thinking about this, like, this makes absolutely no sense. By definition, a stablecoin is stable. Therefore, there is no capital gains. What do you mean an elimination of a de minimis tax or a elimination of a capital gains tax on a stable coin, which is pegged to $1, which is supposed to be stable? Where's the gain? It makes no sense. Though they're saying it may be, elimination of a gains tax on the fees, what have you. It's like, this is ludicrous. This is ridiculous. This is insane. It's damn near just plain stupidity. Anyways, going further, obviously, again, another wrinkle here, USDC. That is the Coinbase stablecoin. So it looks like they are trying to play games to protect their moat. So again, going further, Coinbase made $1.35 billion in stablecoin revenue in 2025, up 48% year over year, almost entirely from interest earned on U.S. treasuries held in the USDC reserves. Bloomberg estimates that number could surge 7 times under the Genius Act, and every person who uses the USD for payments instead of Bitcoin is a person whose dollars are sitting in Coinbase's reserve pool, generating risk-free yield for Coinbase. So again, this is the accusation being lightly. This is the speculation as to what the incentive structures here are and why it makes sense for Coinbase to say, yeah, we actually don't really care about Bitcoin for money. We actually want stable coins to be proliferated because they make a shit ton of money off the yield from treasuries sitting in their USDC reserves. Of course, a de minimis exemption for Bitcoin would let people spend it freely for everyday purchases, which I mentioned, and that makes Bitcoin a direct competitor to USDC and stablecoins at large. Remember, the Genius Act basically proliferated stablecoins. There is this push in Washington for stablecoins first, because it's not as edgy, it's not as far-fetched of an idea as Bitcoin. It's like, oh, it's digital money, it's a cryptocurrency, but it's pegged to the dollar. Therefore, we can maintain dollar hegemony, we can maintain dollar strength, instead of fully embracing this alternative, neutral, completely parallel system that is Bitcoin. Of course, they want you locked into their centralized stablecoin ecosystem, where they clip the yield on every dollar you park there. So now you're seeing the incentive structure. Obviously, as I said, and Marty's saying in this tweet, a de minimis tax on stablecoins literally just, it makes no sense. It's pegged to the dollar. It doesn't fluctuate. There is no gains. It's $1. Like $1 is one stable coin. Like, where's the gain here? It just makes no sense. Now, of course, there's been a lot of conversations about what the de minimis tax actually should be. For a while there, it was a little higher in the low thousands, and it went to the 800, then it went to the 600, and the latest was $300. And I forget what the total year was, but it was it was like $1,500 a year or something. So a de minimis tax on what, 5 transactions of $300? It's like, it's not really using Bitcoin as money. All right. I guess a win's a win on that front. I guess it's precedent for something more, but I don't think that would really move the needle. That's basically what I'm saying. Okay. So here's the accusation. Now, I did watch Marty Bent's coverage of this, and he didn't put it in a tweet, and he basically said, hey, the only reason I tweeted this out is because I got multiple confirmation from multiple sources that this was in fact going on, that behind the scenes in closed door meetings, this is what Coinbase was doing, that they are fighting more for a, quote, de minimis tax on stable coins, and really saying that no one uses Bitcoin. Bitcoin isn't money. You know, we want, without them saying it, it's like we want people parking their money with us because then we make money. So it does sound like a moat so that Coinbase could try to protect their business model. When you think of it in this terms, you're like, it makes total sense for Coinbase to be doing this. Not saying I agree with it, but you can see the incentive structure. You can see the logic in it. Is it bad logic? Is it hurtful for Bitcoin as money? I would say 100%. Now, as I said when I did the conversation with Tom Luongo, nothing is official until you get an official denial. That is an Otto von Bismarck quote. Until you get an official denial, then, it's speculations and accusations, but we got an official denial, which starts to make me think that, in fact, this is what's going on. And here are the official denials. We have Faria Shirzad, who is the chief policy officer at Coinbase. He goes, this is a total lie, Marty Bent. We have never and will never lobby against Bitcoin ever. Excuse me. So first, official denial. Quote tweets it. We aren't doing this. This is misinformation, fake news. Then we got another one. We got Kara Calvert, who also works at Coinbase, and she goes, TFTC is 100% false reporting. We strongly support both Senator Lummis's bill and the work in the House to create a de minimis exemption for all digital assets. Okay, so second denial. And then we got an official denial coming from Brian Armstrong himself. And he goes, not sure where you're getting this misinformation. Quote, perhaps you can share, but it's totally false. I spent a bunch of time lobbying for Bitcoin de minimis tax exemption and will continue doing so. It's obviously the right thing. So maybe they got caught with their pants down, and now they're going to roll it back. And then this is where the conversation further spread into other corners. And we got even more confirmation from other people in the Bitcoin space that are also have some privy to these conversations. Now, here's the Marty Bent tweet where he says, I have sources that say otherwise, not you personally, but your team and or lobbyists are the ones that are lobbying against a de minimis tax on Bitcoin. Will you commit to walk away from the market structure bill if it doesn't include the de minimis exemption for Bitcoin like you did for stablecoin yield? So Marty put him in a corner, put him in a chokehold here publicly. And ever since then, radio silence from the Coinbase team. Of course, this all played out last night. Scrolling through Twitter, scrolling through different responses, no response yet, which really leads into the idea of, maybe it's true. And Parker Lewis says the same thing. Coinbase's CEO, chief policy officer, and VP of U.S. policy all came out and claimed a combination that this report was misinformation, totally false, a total lie, and categorically false. Problem is, it's true. When Marty Bent stood by its reporting, they all went radio silent. That's where we currently are from the initial accusation to the Coinbase responses. But to add a little more fuel to this fire, we did get some other confirmations from people, like I said, that are actively lobbying for Bitcoin on Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C. Particularly, the first one is from our boy Connor Brown, who works now currently at the Bitcoin Policy Institute. And he goes, in response to Kara, he goes, very thankful to hear that, Kara. Of course, here is, she's saying the same thing, categorically false. Don't take the bait. We're definitely not lobbying against Bitcoin. Coinbase has been advocating for de minimis exemption for all digital assets in 2017. In fact, I was on the ground in DC pushing for that bill, and a decade later, I'm still on the ground lobbying for strong de minimis exemptions for all digital assets. As for stablecoins, frankly, we shouldn't need a de minimis exemption. Stablecoins, so they agree. We're finally in some agreement. So Connor Brown, again, very thankful to hear that. Will Coinbase join Bitcoin Policy in hosting a public roundtable with lawmakers this month to erase any confusion on this issue and make clear how important a Bitcoin de minimis tax is for the future payments infrastructure in America? But that's not where Connor stopped. He goes, of course, in response to this tweet by Marty, this is extremely concerning if true. I can confirm that over the past 3 months, there's been a strong shift on the Hill to limiting the de minimis exemption to stablecoins only. So he's in the meetings. He's hearing that idea. That's why he's putting his hat in the ring. Of course, Bitcoin Policy Institute, they'll continue to fight for Bitcoin. And then we got a couple more responses. This one is from Frank Corba, which, if you guys remember, was previously at Bitcoin Magazine. He was the one that was in the White House with the official press pass in the White House for Bitcoiners. And Frank Corba goes, my sources on this matter have also told me that one of the items in the Clarity Act that may be on the chopping block in exchange for Coinbase/crypto industry getting interest on stablecoins are the BRCA protections for developers, which was in the Clarity Act, this, bullet point saying that we should protect open source developers. So now we're getting multiple confirmations that, hey, okay, maybe they aren't necessarily fighting against a de minimis tax on Bitcoin, but they are willing to compromise on things that aren't that favorable for the Bitcoin industry at large in favor of them being allowed to get some stablecoin yield. And remember the numbers. They're making billions of dollars off dollars parked in their USDC stablecoin. Now, remember when we were talking about the Genius Act a while ago, how we were mentioning that, of course, the first thing they pushed through was the stablecoin yields, or rather, the stablecoin proliferation. Now you're starting to see why these crypto exchanges are so hell-bent on stablecoins going in first, is because they make a lot of money on stablecoin yields. That's why the Clarity Act has been held up, is because of the, quote, stablecoin rewards, which is basically just yields. Not just from the company that issues the stablecoin, but so that the consumers can get some gains. So I don't know who you want to believe on this matter, but personally, I've been saying for a while, I'm not a big fan of Coinbase. It might be just because of my 2018 bear market roots, where we all went Bitcoin only. We all took an ideological stance, and we realized like Coinbase is probably hurting Bitcoin more than benefiting it because of their shitcoin casino. You just see the incentive structures are all off. Now, like I said, Jack Dorsey did throw his hat in the ring here. Where is the Jack Dorsey tweet? Is it right here? Here we go. So again, Jack Dorsey, who of course has Cash App, has BitKey, has the block, allowed Bitcoin payments on Square app recently. He is actively on the front lines and has been saying for a long time that Bitcoin needs to be used as money. Here is his take and response. Hope this is true for de minimis as well. Brian Armstrong saying that they're not lobbying against Bitcoin. Obviously, hopefully, they're not lobbying against the de minimis tax on Bitcoin. And did I bring up my buddy? Oh, no, I didn't bring up Fernando's take. But you can see the dichotomy here. Coinbase, one of the largest exchanges in the world. Their incentive, their business structure is built on them profiting off of shitcoin, stablecoin yields. They begrudgingly have Bitcoin on their platform. They were huge in advocating for Bitcoin Cash during the fork wars. they haven't really been a friend to Bitcoin for a long time. Yes, when it's favorable for them, they will come out and say, oh, Bitcoin's great. The very next sentence, they're talking about crypto. It's because they don't make money off Bitcoin. They make all of their money off selling shit coins and trash to their customers. They make all their money off the yields of USDC. And so here is the stark contrast. You're seeing Jack Dorsey, love him or hate him. I think he's really been doing a lot of good work for Bitcoin. In the recent years, he has devoted his life to Bitcoin. And shouts out to Dante. He swears Jack Dorsey is Satoshi. I don't know about all that. But you can see the stark contrast. On the one hand, we're hearing rumors and speculations and accusations that Brian Armstrong, CEO of Coinbase, doesn't see Bitcoin as money. On the other hand, we have Jack Dorsey, whose whole North Star is Bitcoin as money. Everything he's been doing in the recent years is advocating for Bitcoin being used as money. Obviously, Jack Dorsey isn't in the White House. He isn't a part of the lobbying groups. He's just building the products on the ground for customers, to protect customers, to incentivize people, or rather building the infrastructure so that people can use Bitcoin as money every single day. We're starting to see in Bitcoin, we're in like a multi-front war here. There's the Wall Street attack on Bitcoin, where they're incentivizing you to give up your keys, take your Bitcoin into these Wall Street products, trying to acquire as much Bitcoin as possible, potentially, again, speculatively, crashing the Bitcoin price so that they can scoop up Bitcoin on the cheap. And now we're seeing that maybe one of our own, maybe an insider from the crypto industry, in quotes, is not doing what's in our best favor of Bitcoin being used as money. Again, they've denied this allegation, but nothing is more official than an official denial. And maybe it's because I wouldn't be here without Marty Bent, that I tend to think that Marty isn't just talking hot air here. I think, as he said, if you watch his video covering this story, he said, look, the only reason I felt comfortable tweeting this is because I got multiple confirmation from multiple sources that, in fact, behind closed doors, that is what's happening. Now, we're seeing from, the CEO, the CPO, the policy officer, that they're officially denying this, that maybe it's not them that are doing it, but someone close to Coinbase is actively fighting Bitcoin as money. Now, maybe they're just straight up bold-faced lying to all of us because they got caught, again, like I said, with their hand in the cookie jar. But this is not a good look for Coinbase, obviously for the Bitcoin industry. Now, I was talking with a friend earlier, and he reminded me of when there was the meeting of the whole Bitcoin crypto industry in the White House, that anytime Brian Armstrong was talking towards Donald Trump, there was a very interesting moment there. He raised his hand and he said something to Trump, or Trump basically asked, oh, I'm so happy for everyone to be here. This is historic. I forget what the name was when they all had that, like, it wasn't a round table, but they had the dinner table. They did the press release where it's like, oh, look, we did the executive order, Bitcoin strategic reserve. Look at all of us with all these industry people. And there was a certain moment where Brian Armstrong raised his hand because Trump was like, hey, does anyone want to talk, say a question? And Brian Armstrong raised his hand, and you could physically see that Trump just completely ignored him. So why am I bringing that up? Because you could say that if that is the case, especially considering that the Trump children are all in on Bitcoin, they've very publicly said Bitcoin is money. They love this thing. Now, you could say there's political games being played, but they're fully invested in Bitcoin. I think they want to see it do well. They think it's going to $1 million. Maybe you could say there's a chance that they don't really like Brian Armstrong on Capitol Hill. Maybe it's just Congress that takes what Brian Armstrong is saying seriously. And maybe when this stuff happens, or it really comes to a point, that whatever Brian Armstrong does, they really ignore it. But if he's part of the lobbying group, again, you got to remember personnel is policy. So if Brian Armstrong is able to get to the personnel, they're the ones that are making the policy. And I know a lot of people don't think Trump necessarily reads everything, so some things could slip through. But when I was reminded of this, it's like, okay, maybe Brian Armstrong isn't as doesn't have as much influence as all of us would like to say. So maybe there's some hope that they're trying to save some face. So if we come back maybe next week or maybe over the weekend and we see that Brian Armstrong is totally willing to sit down with the Bitcoin Policy Institute, totally do a public roundtable with politicians and stand on the ground of, yes, we want a de minimis tax on Bitcoin. Personally, I want to see more. I want to see just complete end of capital gains on not just Bitcoin. Personally, I stand with maybe the more hardcore people. Like, just let's eliminate it, period, because that's a tax on saving. That's a tax on the productive people, the smart people making the smart choices. But I guess, again, a win is a win. A small win is a win, and we got to set some precedent here. But, man, looking at this, knowing Coinbase's history in Bitcoin, I think they got caught with their hand in the cookie jar, and now they're trying to save face because they know how bad this actually is. What's the saying? You know, what you do in private will be made public. Maybe they thought they could get away with this in private, and they never thought it was going to be public news, a public news story for everyone, because maybe there's some form of NDAs or whatever. They thought there's no phones recording these conversations. They could say whatever they want. They're playing the Wall Street games of, we want to maintain our regulatory moat. They want to maintain their business. They might have just got caught, is all I'm saying. Again, this is still part of the rumor mill. This is speculation. These are accusations. But we have 3 people that have been in these conversations on Capitol Hill saying, I have multiple sources, each of them saying that this is in fact going on, whether it's attacking de minimis tax on Bitcoin, whether it's attacking the caveat, the policy of protecting open source developers coming from Coinbase. They are not good actors in the space. At this point, if you're still using Coinbase, I can really say maybe only one of 2 reasons. 1, you're just lazy, and 2, you really just don't know what's going on. For better or worse, Coinbase does have the mind share. They do have the PR that if you want to buy Bitcoin, you go to Coinbase. You know, they've been doing the Backstreet Boys commercials, and, you know, they're getting the billboards on Wall Street. You know, they got enough money to do the marketing aspect. So for a lot of people, there's still a connection between Bitcoin and crypto and Coinbase. And if you want to get Bitcoin, you go to Coinbase. At this point, no one should be recommending Coinbase. No one should be using Coinbase. If you really want to vote with your dollars, then the only thing these people will learn, whether it's a politician, whether it's the crypto exchanges, whether it's quote unquote some of the Bitcoin OGs, you got to hit them where it hurts. And that is their pocketbook. So, look, I tend to believe Marty. I think this is probably more truthful than not. It's not a good look for Coinbase. We'll see what happens moving forward. Again, this is accusations, rumor mills going wild right now. It is slow news story right now. It's a slow news cycle. We're in the depths of the bear market. We don't know how bad things are going to get yet. Everyone's demoralized. People want something to talk about. I'll be a little lenient. That could be the case, but I don't think that's exactly what's going on. I think they got caught. Anyways, moving forward. Oh, wait, actually, you know, I know you guys love memes. So let me put up a good meme here. And I don't know who this guy is. Vexel. All right, hardcore Bitcoiner. And he goes, if your Bitcoin is with these bros, it's not your Bitcoin. And it's a picture of Larry Fink and Brian Armstrong. So that's my take here. If you're buying the BlackRock ETF, If you're buying Bitcoin from Coinbase and you're leaving it on Coinbase, that is not your Bitcoin. You are sleeping with the enemy, okay? Not even a spicy take. It's not even a spicy take at all. But hey, you know, you do what you want with your money as far as I'm concerned, but there's no one to blame if something goes horribly wrong but yourself. Don't buy the IBIT BlackRock ETF. And if you have Bitcoin on Coinbase, get it off today, or rather get it off this weekend. That's the takeaway here. All right, guys. So moving forward, there are some interesting conversations happening. One clip from CNBC, which is really leaning into what I've been saying about Bitcoin in regards to what has currently happened in the Middle East and how resilient it has been. It might be showing us something of where we currently are in the story of Bitcoin, or rather what investors and people outside of Bitcoin are starting to maybe see and realize Bitcoin could be an alternative asset, an alternative investment, and further an alternative money. Now, again, I'm mind reading, but I'm going to make the case that we are sort of seeing that happen in real time. And then going further, we got a huge announcement coming out of the CFTC and SEC last night as well. And then I believe Matteo from Club Orange is coming on today. At least that's what my schedule says. So he should be here in a couple of minutes. On that note, let me hit the first commercial and we'll be right back.
Today's episode is brought to you by Bitcoin Well Infinite. If you're a serious Bitcoin buyer, you've probably hit the same wall. Most platforms make you give up custody just to play by the rules. Bitcoin Well Infinite fixes that. They're North America's only publicly traded, non-custodial OTC desk listed on the TSX Venture Exchange, which means transparent operations and zero counterparty risk.
You buy Bitcoin, you take immediate control, period. For trades over $50,000, you get a dedicated executive Bitcoin advisor, competitive spread starting at 1%, and immediate delivery straight to your own wallet. No custody risk, no withdrawal fees, just institutional grade execution with full asset control. If you want to buy Bitcoin the right way, book a free consultation at bitcoinwell.com/OTC or email infinite@bitcoinwell.com.
I want to give a shout out to our partner, StampSeed. Is your Bitcoin in cold storage really secure? Are your seed phrases really secure? StampSeed's do-it-yourself kit has everything you'll need for you to hammer your seed words into commercial-grade titanium plates, instead of just writing them down on paper. Paper is fragile. Titanium plates are strong. Your words are actually stamped into the titanium plate with this hammer and these letter stamping tools. Once the words are in, they aren't going anywhere. No risk of the plate breaking apart and pieces falling everywhere. Titanium stamp seeds will survive nearly triple the heat produced by a house fire. They're also crush-proof, waterproof, non-corrosive, and time-proof. And now you can customize your titanium seed plates. You can upload your design or logo, and they will laser engrave it on the back of your seed plate, the opposite side of where the words are. Stamp your seed on StampSeed and use promo code SIMPLY to get 15% off anything on the stampseed.com store.
Alrighty then, guys, we are back, and the current Bitcoin price is 70,270. We did get to a 69K low. I think the day's still on green if it's wearing the 70K. So, hey, there's some life back in Bitcoin. Anyways, a 44.3% discount from all-time high, and the market cap, we are still above $1.4 trillion, currently 1.41. And the block height is 940,417. Okay, guys, like I said, I'm going to be making the case, as I've been kind of making the last couple of days, that what we're seeing currently in the Bitcoin price action, considering what's going on globally, I think it's very resilient. It's very strong. And I don't know, I don't want to say this guy's watching, Simply Bitcoin, but I haven't heard a lot of people say this kind of theme, this kind of perspective. Actually, I've seen a couple tweets. I brought them up, obviously. But we might be seeing the tide shift around the perspective of Bitcoin. I know a lot of people still view Bitcoin as a risk-on asset. We obviously believe otherwise. It's a risk-off asset. Yes, it's been trading very closely to some equities, but in reality, I think that's only in the short term. And this clip on CNBC is saying a lot of the same things. And when I was looking at this morning and I was kind of thinking about it a little bit, I think when you connect what we're seeing with stocks, with gold, with Bitcoin, I think there is a story to be told. So let me play the clip first, and then I'll make the case for what I potentially think is going on.
Look, military conflicts, we know the drill. It's oil's going to go back down and equities are going to go back up. That's what's going to happen. But number one, it's just sometimes hard to stay in your seat. And number two, mitigating volatility in a portfolio means a lot, because you can get 8% a year with low volatility. Actually, you'll compound to more than 10% with lots of volatility. So having diversified assets means a lot. And so far in this conflict, actually, if you look at Bitcoin, it's up a little bit and equities are down. So the diversifying piece, I think, still stays intact as an important theme here. And that's what I think is important to focus on. So many folks have concluded that cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, Ether, Solana, XRP, that they're just risk assets. But if you really run the numbers, you can see that not only do they have de minimis correlation with equities, but they also have extremely low correlation with gold and silver, as an example. So I think the diversification story really holds in this current environment.
Now, let's ignore the whole shitcoin part. Obviously, that's trash. This guy is from ProShares, which has various ETFs. So I don't endorse those shitcoin aspect of this. But anyways, if you're looking at equities right now, specifically the S&P 500, NASDAQ, they've been on the decline for pretty much since the start of the year. There's obviously been some volatility. It's not like a crazy decline. I believe I did the charts this morning, and it's roughly around like 5% on NASDAQ and the S&P 500. And then the Dow is down about 7-ish%. But we're seeing that, yes, gold and silver are down from their all-time high. But if you're looking at the trend of what equities are doing, specifically those indexes that I mentioned, they've kind of been, a little toppy. They're rolling down and kind of trending downwards. But gold and arguably silver being in the conversation of precious metals and hard money, they've corrected, but they've been slowly grinding upwards. And that is the same kind of price action we've seen from Bitcoin. And so when you connect the idea of gold as our big brother in the hard money game, and of course Bitcoin as, in my opinion, the pristine hard money, are we seeing this maybe realization, as this clip was saying, that you probably want something that isn't correlated with the traditional financial system? You might want a neutral money. You might want something that is completely not dependent on the fiat system. And if we continue to see gold and Bitcoin, and I guess arguably as well, silver continue to grind upwards while we see equities go downwards, I'm not saying we're seeing a repricing and people selling their equities to get into Bitcoin, but we are seeing the greater conversation of people realizing there needs to be a hard money alternative into your portfolios, into your investments. Now, obviously, I don't think Bitcoin is an investment. I think it's the best money, period. But are we starting to slowly see a trend of people waking up to the importance of hard money? That's kind of what I'm seeing, especially in the face of a new global war. Or we're not in a war. It's an operation. It's a conflict. Though Pete Hegseth did say it was a war. Like, there's no consensus on what is going on in the Middle East. Again, like, is it a war or is it not a war? No one really knows. We're getting conflicting narratives on what is actually going on. I actually, another tab, I don't know if you saw this last night, but Trump went out there and said, had already won the war in the first hour. And then you're like, yeah, but like we're 2 weeks in. So what have we been doing for 2 weeks if we've already won the war? Now this morning, he's like, yeah, we probably might be there for like another month. You're like, whoa, like what the hell is going on? And then you see what's going on with energy. We did see a lot of Western nations announce that they were going to release some of their strategic oil reserves, though it is a pale in the bucket compared to what happens if we see a prolonged close of the Strait of Hormuz. If this continues, if we do continue to see energy prices go higher, a shortage in oil, this could really cause a lot of damage. We could really be in a very bad place right now. And this is why I think we're potentially seeing that people are starting to wake up to this idea of like, I need some hard money. I need something completely outside of the system. I need a store of value. Now, is it one of these things where it goes to gold and silver first and eventually Bitcoin? But again, I was really surprised last week when on Monday, the markets open after the attack in Iran, that Bitcoin didn't absolutely dump. I'm starting to get a little bullish that maybe Bitcoin's holding up very well. Maybe we're going to see a breakout very soon. Again, trolling because I'm not the biggest TA guy, but I'm a wick off maxi right now. I want to believe. I think it's hanging on. I think that's what's happening right now. Okay. Anyways, guys, another commercial break, and I do see Matteo is in the background. Matteo is in the building, so I will bring him in after this commercial break.
I want to give a shout out to our partner, Ledin, the leader in Bitcoin-backed loans. Unlock the liquidity in your Bitcoin without having to sell your Bitcoin. They've issued $9 billion in loans to over 10,000 customers since 2018. I absolutely love these guys. Not only do I have an account with them, but I also have a loan. And what I love about them is that there are no monthly payments, and you could pay back the loan at any time. As soon as you send your Bitcoin as collateral, you'll have cash in your account within 24 hours. Over 1,000 five-star customer reviews, and they've never lost a single dollar or sat of customer money. Go to learn.ledin.io/simply today, and you'll get 0.25% off your first loan. I want to give a shout out to our partner, sat123.com. Sovereignty isn't just about your money. It's about your communications too. When the grid goes down, most people go dark. Cell towers fail in hurricanes, cyber attacks, and blackouts. But satellite phones? They don't rely on local infrastructure. Iridium has 77 satellites in orbit, giving you a direct line anywhere in the US, even offshore. If you hold your own Bitcoin keys, you should hold your own comms too. Sat123.com also has everything you need to start building your Bitcoin citadel. Starlink, battery backups, Faraday bags to protect your hardware wallets, and much, much more. It's a one-stop shop for anyone serious about resilience and off-grid independence. Stay connected, stay independent, stay sovereign. Go to sat123.com/simply today and use promo code SIMPLY to get 15% off anything on the store. I want to give a shout out to our partner, BitKey. If you already self-custody your Bitcoin, you know the deal with hardware wallets by now. Complex setups, clumsy interfaces, and a seed phrase that can be lost, stolen, or forgotten. BitKey fixes that. BitKey is a multi-sig hardware wallet built by the team behind Square and Cash App. It packs a cryptographic recovery system and built-in inheritance feature into an intuitive, easy-to-use wallet with no seed phrase to sweat over. It's simple, secure, self-custody without the stress. Time named BitKey one of the best inventions of 2024. Get 20% off at bitkey.world. That's BITKEY.world with the code SIMPLY.
All right, guys, we are back. I'm gonna quickly cover this. Oh, okay. Mateo's back. Mateo, I saw you turned your camera off, so I'm like, okay, let me quickly cover this. But how you doing, bro? How's life been?
Opti.
What's
Long
up,
time no
bro?
see.
Yeah, man. It's been a minute. Here, let me quickly cover this, and then we'll
ahead.
just start chatting. So, guys, big news again. It is a lot of rhetoric, but the implication here is seemingly very favorable for the Bitcoin industry at large. At least the idea, we'll see what actually comes out of this, but this is an announcement. So we have Michael Selig, of course. He is the chairman of the CFTC, and he goes, the days of turf battles between the CFTC and the SEC are over. SEC Paul Atkins and I are working together, and today's memorandum of understanding solidifies our efforts to achieve our mutual goals of harmonization. Of course, read more. Here's the official press release. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'll read the intro, and then I'll read the specific point about digital assets or cryptos. And he goes, the Commodities Future Trading Commission and the SEC today announced that they have entered into a memorandum of understanding to guide coordination and collaboration between the two agents to support lawful innovation, uphold market integrity, and ensure investors and customers protection. The MOU reflects both agencies' commitment to provide fair notice to market participants, respect individual liberty, and foster lawful innovation with the minimum effective dose of regulation to enhance U.S. competitiveness in finance. So, hey, look, again, rhetoric, it's a press release, but seemingly a good thing. And I'll probably explain that a little bit. But anyways, here is what they support. And it goes, the initiative will support coordination across the policymaking, examination, and enforcement functions of each agency, particularly for joint applications and shared policy efforts, including providing a fit-for-purpose regulatory framework for crypto assets and other emerging technologies. All these other ones, you could say, don't necessarily relate to Bitcoin. But the idea here is one of the things I've been saying on the show for a minute, that in the past, we've seen from the SEC and the CFTC that they would basically have two different definitions for what Bitcoin and quote, cryptos are at large. And this announcement, it seems like we're going to get a definitive perspective of what Bitcoin is. Hopefully, they go the CFTC route where Bitcoin is a digital commodity and preferably everything else is a security. That might be too much to ask, but for the longest time, the SEC has really treated Bitcoin or crypto assets as securities. Now, hopefully, if we do get some good harmonization here, if we do get a overarching view of what Bitcoin is, this does bring in the idea of regulatory clarity. Preferably, like I said, they treat Bitcoin as a commodity. Preferably, it'd get to Bitcoin as a money. But again, I think I might be asking a little too much here. I always seem to be on the extreme side of everything going on here. But maybe a small win is a win. I guess that's my short-term pain for long-term gain here. I'm repeating, a win is a win. A small win is a win. So that's the big announcement. Again, it's an announcement. We'll see what actually gets pushed through, or rather what they actually conclude. But this is some big news in regards to how we're going to see these agencies treat Bitcoin. We'll cover it when it officially launches, but in the meantime, at least we're aware of what's going on. Anyways, Matteo, we could pivot from here. I just wanted to get that through. But man, or actually, do you want to hit on this? Do you have thoughts on this, or we could just keep the conversation going somewhere else?
Do I have thought on the SEC? Well, I mean, it's my favorite institution in the world, so I surely don't. No, man, I'm not too worried about what the government thinks Bitcoin is, to be honest with you. It's, at the end of the day, Bitcoin is what Bitcoiners think it should be. So I think it'd be easier, I guess, for people that are not into Bitcoin if the SEC says, oh, it's money or it's commodity. But personally, I'm not too worried about it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I love that. I have definitely been on that train for a while. I think You know, Nico is super big on the politics stuff, and I was listening to bad advice. No, I'm trolling. Nico's good advice. And so I definitely got caught up in the politics angle of Bitcoin, and I definitely had to step back for a little bit and be like, what am I here for? I'm here for Bitcoin as money. Maybe I'm a hardcore Bitcoiner. I know there's far and few of us still left here because everyone became a suit coiner. Everyone started shilling the Bitcoin treasury companies, and they made a bag. All our friends that did it, they made some money, and we were sitting here like, damn, we should have been shilling them. What are we doing just telling people to buy Bitcoin and take it to self-custody? Good thing we didn't, though, because it seems like their reputations maybe took a hit on that. But I agree. I think if we get a point where people use Bitcoin, everything will kind of figure itself out. It's almost like what we saw, of course, with the internet. I know it's a trope at this point, but we saw in the past with new emerging technologies, they do try to regulate it. And then at a certain point, once everyone uses it, they realize they can't actually regulate this thing. So hopefully we get to that point. Hopefully enough people use Bitcoin. I guess that's the big hope. Actually, Matteo, I want to ask you this, because I know you are a hardcore Bitcoiner. You're a hardcore Bitcoin is money person. And one of the fears that I've had in recent years is the fact that we aren't seeing people use Bitcoin or even caring about Bitcoin. And I'm like, I think the only failure that Bitcoin could have at this point, I don't think the network will necessarily die. It's just that people don't care about Bitcoin. So what's your thoughts on this? Are you seeing that from your side? Obviously, you're a company that connects Bitcoiners. So maybe you're a little biased because now all I do is read the headlines and I'm like, I just don't feel like people care right now. But it could just be a bear market thing.
I mean, yeah, I mean, the bear market is not helping for now, right? This is a momentary thing. I mean, if you've been in Bitcoin 5, 6, 7, 10 years, 15 years, and some people have been 15 years in Bitcoin. I've been in Bitcoin 17, 18 years, actually. So joking aside, you go, how it goes, there's a bull market, then there's a bear market. These 4-year cycles, one day it'll be over. We don't know. But yeah, I mean, the adoption, if you look at on-chain, obviously, fees that's basically zero. So there's not much volume there. But this could also mean that Bitcoin has scaled to the Lightning Network, right? I mean, the Lightning Network is going parabolic. Yeah. If you look at the measures on the Lightning Network, like we have, we have launched a wallet last year, basically, 1 year and change. And we have done 4 million transactions, just us. So starting from zero, right? So I think the Lightning Network is taking away a lot of, activity from the layer 1 to layer 2, which is how it should be anyway, right? We don't want to, nobody wants to wait 10 minutes to get a coffee. So I don't know if the on-chain is reflective of what actually is going on in the Bitcoin ecosystem that much. And also there's ETF, people now buy on the ETF, so there's no, they can buy 1,000 Bitcoin and do zero transaction on the, on the blockchain. There's a lot of, it's definitely changed. It's definitely mature. The ecosystem has matured, right? Like a lot, especially since I got in 2017, 2018. And now the banks are going to come in, right? Now you're going to be able to get Bitcoins from your Wells Fargo Citibank account. And you probably don't even know what is a blockchain, right? Or what is Lightning. Like all these things, I think are going to go in the background. I think, if you ask me, how is Bitcoin going to win? Is when people don't even know what's the blockchain on the Lightning. They just use Bitcoin from their checking account, from their credit card, whatever it is, right? I think that's when Bitcoin wins, is that like it's everywhere and it just works, right? So that's kind of my thesis right now. And the bear market is a great time to build, as the saying goes. So we're building a lot of cool stuff at Club Orange. And, we actually started onboarding merchants recently. I don't know if you saw my tweet about this pizza guy in Los Angeles.
No, I didn't. I'll pull it up right now, though.
Yeah, if you go on my account, it's the pin one. So what happened is, Cash App now shows you a map of merchants that accept Bitcoin through Square. Because now, if you have Square, you can just click a button on your there you go, that's the tweet. So if you have Square, you can just accept Bitcoin with one click, which is amazing. And you can convert to fiat, you can keep the Bitcoin or whatever you like. So on Club Orange, we have a merchant section. And so I'm like, let's go and find out these merchants around LA. Let's drive around. I got a friend on Club Orange. Let's just go drive around and talk to this merchant, right? And sign them up on Club Orange so they can find local Bitcoiners. They can go and spend. Anyway, somebody told me, I went to a meetup a couple of weeks ago, and somebody told me there's this pizza guy that does 70% discount if you're paying Bitcoin. I'm like, 70? Yeah, 70. I'm like, okay, we got to meet this guy. So I drove across town, which in LA is kind of like it takes 3 hours, right? I went to this place. The guy's not there. The manager has no idea how to take Bitcoin. I'm like, okay, great. That's why I give 70% discount, because nobody can pay in Bitcoin. So, so I left a voicemail. I left a business card to them. I just say, hey, whenever you see your boss, just give them this business card. Anyway, we went back home, and then the next day I wake up, I check my sign up, and there is Pizza Man, which is the name of the pizzeria. He got the founder membership, which is $500, which is the most expensive membership we have. And then somebody told me, hey, did you meet the guy? There's a section about Club Orange on his website. I say, I never spoke to the guy. But this guy just, got the founder merchant membership, and then he put a whole section about Club Orange on his website when it goes to pay with Bitcoin. And I'm like, incredible, right? I mean, this is really how Bitcoin is, like the grassroots, knocking on doors, getting people to accept Bitcoin, So anyway, so we met the guy, I think, 2 days ago. Super young guy, super very cool guy, and it's like, yeah, I'm doing the boxes. So now this guy is the boxes for the pizza. That's deliveries. He's gonna put Bitcoin everywhere. The boxes, the QR code. It's like all in Bitcoin, and so that's the reality on the ground right now. The price doesn't tell you that there is a pizza guy that gives 70% discount if you pay in Bitcoin, and it's gonna put the Bitcoin logo on all the pizza boxes, right? You don't see that on the price. So it's a long you need to lower your preference, Opti. That's my advice. Lower your preference, but we're gonna get there.
Okay. All right. I feel like I get yelled at by Matteo every time you come on the show. It's either check my DMs on Club Orange, or I guess now it's lower my time preference. Okay, I heard you, Matteo. I don't meet up with as many new Bitcoiners as you. I meet up with the same Bitcoiners, and we just complain about the same things constantly. So maybe I need to go meet up with new Bitcoiners. I'm like, I like my Bitcoin friends. They're nice. And
yeah. Well, there's always,
you're on the other side.
There's always new Bitcoiners minted. Every block, there's a new Bitcoiner minted, right? So, but if you have Bitcoin friends, it's good to get, especially during these, these crashes, 50% down. It's good to get conviction from your Bitcoin bros. So I'm glad you're doing that, Opti.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm seeing. I'm like, wait, someone's messaging me on Orange Pill app, or sorry, Club Orange. I still have it in my head. I'm like, someone just messaged me on Club Orange. What's going on? Like, don't they know I'm on the show? And they're like, Matteo's up next. Let's go. So, yeah. Nice. But I do want to talk about the Lightning. Just in general, one of my really good friends, Jestifer, he's at Amboss. I really want to just give him a shout out and applause for what he's been building. And I know the Lightning Network doesn't get as much coverage here on the show, but it really is truly incredible what is happening on Lightning right now. It's really becoming like the de facto layer 2 for Bitcoin, and it's moving a lot of money. I know for you guys that watch every day, I did cover the what was it? The $1 million single Lightning transaction that just happened. Like that was huge. And I keep seeing Jestifer, my boy Jestifer. Actually, he doxed himself. It's Jesse, I think his last name's Schroeder. I know him as Jestifer forever. You know, the CEO of Amboss. And the charts and numbers he's showing, he's like, guys, you guys are really underestimating where Lightning is and the amount of adoption and use through Lightning. He's like, it's here. It's finally here. And I guess it goes back to what you said, Matteo. You know, I think as Bitcoiners, we do get caught up because we're so obsessed with Bitcoin day in and day out that it's like, oh, you know, zooming back, I remember a lot of contention, a lot of rumors and speculations like, oh, Lightning's not going to work. It's dead, bro. Like, why is no one using Lightning? And here we are a couple of years later, and it's almost working exactly as designed, guys. It's almost like Bitcoin works exactly as designed.
I can tell you a funny story about the Lightning Network if you want.
Yeah, go for it.
Before we had the wallets, you know, and I didn't really understand the Lightning Network that well when I launched Club Orange, which was back in 2020. Anyway, so I got a guy on Club Orange and said, oh, you know, we should test we should test the Lightning Network and see how many sats you can send. And so I'm like, okay, let me send you 1 million sats. So you send it back, this and that. So eventually we end up doing like a 20 million sat transaction. I never met the guy. You know, you could have run away with the sats. Obviously, send it back. And then I realized, and then, you know, then I go into like starting the Lightning Network, and it's like, you know, if you have a channel with somebody with like 10 Bitcoins, you can send 10 Bitcoins, which is what, 1 billion sats, back and forth, you know, infinite amount of time, no fees, by the way. And so yeah, I mean, the 1 million transaction on Lightning, it's great. It's like what, 10 Bitcoin, like 12 Bitcoins now. You could do I think you could do 1 billion transaction on Lightning as long as you have the channel with like, you know, 1,000 Bitcoins, whatever the number might be now. There is really no limit, because then I ask, you know, people like Jesse and other people that, you know, they're like deep down in on the Lightning. It's like, is there actually a limit of how big is the channel? And they say technically there is no limit. So you could do a $1 billion transaction on the Lightning. I think we need to ask Sailor to do that to see if it works. Like, I'm sure he has a spare 1,000 Bitcoin.
Yeah, I'm sure he's got somewhere. 1 billion sitting around that he can totally just do that.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, the Lightning, I mean, I remember when I got into, you know, when I was here when the Lightning got started in 2018, and it was like 50% of the transactions would not go through. Literally, they would fail. And now it's like, I can't even remember last time I got and I do, you know, we do a lot of transactions, you know, you can buy membership on Lightning through Club Orange, you know, and we use, you know, different providers, but nobody's going to say, oh, I sent the sats, I haven't got that in many, many years. Yeah, I mean, the Lightning works, man. I don't know why people keep saying the Lightning doesn't work, or they say the Lightning is not Bitcoin. I see those tweets sometimes. I don't know what's wrong with these people. Lightning is Bitcoin, obviously, and Lightning works. It's only gonna get bigger and better, and that's where, I mean, again, that's where most of the activity of Bitcoin is gonna be long term. And then you have on chain for like, okay, you know, I need to send $10 million, right? I need to buy grocery in 100 years, and you know, I need $1 million of Lightning of Bitcoin. So, but yeah, it's Lightning works, man.
Let's go. The takeaway: Lightning works. All right, let me do the last commercial, and then we'll just chop it up about Club Orange, what you've been doing lately. Here we go, guys. This was a quick one, so we'll be right back.
I want to give a shout out to our partner, HIVE Digital Technologies. Fueled by clean energy, HIVE has quadrupled its global Bitcoin mining footprint and channels that same scale into high performance compute, where their AI cloud is now ranked #1 in the world for network performance. At HIVE, you've got dual engines, Bitcoin and AI humming, roaring, accelerating in unison. They're lean and mean, they're green and clean, and they're rewriting the playbook on sustainable digital infrastructure. You can catch the latest buzz at HIVE Digital Tech or at hivedigitaltech.com.
All right, Matteo. Actually, I do want to talk about this message that I just got by Orange Diet. I literally thought it was going to be you messaging me and being like, Opti, check your DMs. Like I check them, Matteo. It's not every week. I've moved it a little bit to probably like every month. So I'm still doing my duties here. It's just there's a little longer break. Okay. I'm still on it. But Matteo, I do want to talk about something else, which is about a lot of the meetups that I've seen you post on your Twitter. Of course, facilitated through Club Orange. And I'm not going to dox the person, but one of our Twitter Zoomers did hang out with you recently. And we were all sitting there and we looked at your Twitter account and you're like, look at us. We're at a meetup. And we are all like looking in our Slack. We're like, yo, is that who we think it is? I'll tell you off the show. But anyways, let's just talk about Club Orange. I know it's working.
Yeah, I know who he is.
Okay.
He's a cool guy. He's been helping us for a long time in like design things, and yeah, it's a great guy, young guy.
Yeah, we love the kid. He's really been. Yeah. He's really been a hidden gem for us. So we're super hyped for him to have joined the team. But anyways, Matteo, it's been a minute, dude. You always send me Brian, and I love Brian. Brian, if you're listening, I love you, bro. I love the energy. Me and him chop it up all the time. But it's been a minute, Matteo. So what have you been doing, man? What's new over there at Club Orange?
Well, the name, just to start, we changed the name.
Yeah. Can we talk about that? What's with the rebrand, bro?
Yeah. So here's what happened. The number one reason why I've changed the name is because my wife told me that she came up with the name forever. And I'm like, this is not true. You didn't come up with a name. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna change the name. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's true that she claimed to be the creator of Orange Club, the name, but that's not really the number one reason. Maybe the number two reason. The number one reason why we changed the name is because there's a couple of reasons, but I guess the problem was that the name was getting misspelled in ways that it's hard to believe. Like literally, like one day I went to an accountant. I'm Italian. Maybe my English is not good. I don't know. The guy is like native English, right? Speaker. And I say, okay, what's the name of the company? Orange Peel App. And he wrote, and like this guy's in front of me, right? Orange, obviously you can't misspell orange, which is why we kept it. Peel was T-I-L-L, like a farmer. And then up, U-P, like up. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
Orange up is crazy.
And it's like, this was the most egregious misspelling. But people would misspell it orange peeled, like P-I-L-L-E-D, orange peel, like you're peeling the orange. And so, it's hard. So it's hard enough to get people to download an app. And if you have to tell them, hey, you wrote the name wrong, like write it again, it gets even harder. And then there was like, three words companies, or products. They're not, there's no successful company that has three words. It's always like one word or maybe two. 3 words is really like, I couldn't find any. And then the last reason was the word peel. For those that spell it right, P-I-L-L, it was a turn down for a certain kind of people. They didn't like the word peel. It sounded like a pharmacy, right? And then so we said, let's see if we can find a better name. So we started like bouncing around ideas. I think the most clever idea that somebody gave me was keeping. By the way, the other thing was like the name was so long that people would say OPA, OPA, right? They would abbreviate it.
Yeah.
Which obviously is kind of cool, but if you go on Google, if you go on the App Store and you type OPA, you're never gonna find us. So when people abbreviate your name, it's usually not a good sign. So somebody gave us this great idea. Was like, okay, how about this? How about we call it Orange People App? So he stays OPA, but he get rid of Peel. That was very clever. But eventually we landed on Club Orange, which is shorter. You can misspell Club Orange. It keeps the name. It keeps the orange, which is kind of Bitcoin. Like we love the color orange. There's some continuity from Orange Pull Up to Club Orange. So anyway, so we rebranded in November, and then I found out there is a company in Ireland that does a soda called Club Orange. So that's great. But if you go on the App Store, if you type Club Orange, they don't have an app for the drink. So that's the reason why we rebranded. I think it is a better name. Like if the original name was Club Orange, nobody would ever say, "Well, you should change it to Orange Pill Up." That's how you got a better name. So new name, same mission, of course. Connecting Bitcoiners. You can find events, you can find merchants, you can find your wife. Somebody, I don't know if you know this, but somebody did find the wife, and then get this, they had a kid, and they call it Matteo. I'm not joking.
Oh, that's crazy. That is wild.
They should have called it Orange Pill Up, but
OPA, not Opti, OPA.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. The meme where like, oh, Dad, why is my name? That meme?
Oh man. Well, perfect. Matteo, I know. Every time you've come on the show for years now at this point, I would always tease you about it being it should just be a dating app, bro. Like, come on. And we would joke everything's a dating app if you're using it correctly. So shouts out to those two people because they use the app correctly. Now I know you don't like that, but hey, everything's a dating app if you use it correctly. So Club Orange. Well, honestly, look, hey, I still occasionally go to the club. You want to find your mate at the club, so it should be part of the branding. Maybe not your mate, maybe just like a night. But hey, people do what they want to do.
the right thing is not everything is a dating app if you use it correctly. The right thing is everything is a dating app if you're good looking.
Hey, bars. That's true. So hey, dude.
Unfortunately, cuts you off.
Damn, that's true. Hey, that's why all these apps aren't working for me.
What's up with your girlfriend, Christine?
Dude, she's lost the plot. I think she's taken this breakup really bad because they keep fighting Bitcoin. They keep trying to usher in the CBDC. They're not really doing a lot of good stuff over there. They're cooked. She's taking it really rough.
You need to save her. Also, you need to just.
The thing is I tried. And didn't work out. I didn't even get a scarf out of the relationship. So I don't know what I was doing. Okay, I was just I was blinded by. I was blinded by the silver fox. Nico would kill me. He's like, yo, okay, what's going on? Okay, anyways. Matteo, what actually, can you tease anything? You got anything in the books? Like anything coming down the pipeline?
Actually, we have a huge thing coming down the pipeline. So the wallet that we launched last year has done 4 million transactions. Like literally 97% of those transactions is geo-zapping, which essentially is zapping people based on their location, because we have we have the approximate location of the user. So you can go on the wallet and type Iran, and there will be nobody. But you can type like Miami, or you can type a city, a country, a continent. You can even type a distance and zap people, based on the distance to you or the location. So anyway, we launched the wallet, and it's custodial. It's a custodial wallet, which has some advantages and some disadvantages. But I was in El Salvador in January for the Plan B. Were you guys there? I think Nico was there.
Nico
right?
was there. Yeah, Nico popped in for a little bit. I wasn't there.
Right.
I don't
Anyway.
leave the basement here, bro. I can't leave the studio. I literally sleep on the other side of the camera now.
Perfect. I love it. We should do it. You should do a 24/7 live stream of all.
Dude, you really want me to lose my mind, dude? I can barely do this one. I'm already losing my mind. 24 hours
live of Opti.com.
I'd never come back.
I would watch it. So anyway, so I was in El Salvador, and I met Roy from Breeze, great guy, and he told me about this thing called Spark. I don't know if you heard about it. Spark.
Yeah. That's David Marcus, right? That's David Marcus's company. Yeah.
So they build this thing. It's kind of like a side chain where you can use Lightning, and you can give wallet to people without being custodial. Now, I'm not going to go into the details because I don't even know the details myself, but my developers do. And I met.
And they tell me it's a good idea. So.
Yeah, it's like, okay, yeah, we can make that work. No, I went actually. LifeSpark is in LA, so I'm in LA as well. So I went to meet them a few weeks ago, and so we actually today, literally before I jump on this beautiful live stream with you, Opti, we did our first non-custodial transaction on Club Orange today. And so in a couple of weeks, we're going to migrate our wallet from custodial to self-custodial, which means, which means you're going to be able to download the wallet from Club Orange and import it on like Wallet of Satoshi or other wallets. And but the cool things is that there is no changes in the app. Like you can do geo-zapping, you can zap people, you can pay invoices. Nothing is going to change from the user perspective, but on the background, it's going to be self-custodial, which means, it's better for us as a company. Obviously, we don't want to hold your funds. And it's better for the user because, obviously we're never going to rag our user, even if we could right now, but still, it's better that you don't even have that opportunity.
Yeah.
And so, so that's the biggest. So that's what we're working right now. We're gonna announce it somewhere in April, maybe April 1st. So
yeah, April Fool's Day. That's a good day.
It's well, we've been doing a lot of April Fool's Day jokes.
I know.
People get a subset.
Well, look, Matteo, you're gonna officially announce it, but you kind of already officially announced it here on Simply with us. So I don't want to steal your announcement. We'll call this the announcement of an announcement. We can lean into the trend of that being in the Bitcoin space. But I do have one quick question here. You did say nothing's going to change. So from a user perspective, are they just going to have to like update their wallet and all their funds and everything's going to be there? Or they don't even have to do anything.
It's so amazing. So the way it's gonna work, right? Let's get into the details. Let's put people to sleep because it's kind of time to sleep. Well, anyway, no, the way it's gonna work is like technically, as far as I know. Well, it's basically when you're gonna update the app, right? There's gonna be an update. You update the app, and then when you go to the wallet, we're gonna automatically create a wallet for you, but the seed phrase of the wallet is gonna only stay in the device. So we can't see the seed phrase. Now, as a user, you can download the seed phrase and you can, put it somewhere else, or you don't have to do that. You can still use the wallet without downloading the seed phrase. The wallet would just work as it worked before. It basically gives you the option to download the wallet. But if you don't do it, you can use the wallet in a self-custodial manner without you even knowing that it's a self-custodial manner, which honestly it's how it should be, right? You don't want to have people download this seed phrase, write it down, put it in a safe box, and then you can use the wallet, right? That's not a good way to, I mean, really, the reason why we built the wallet is because I was talking to people on Club Orange, and I would say 80% of the user of Club Orange, which is payable, you have to pay, so it's kind of like the Bitcoin Maxi, they never use the Lightning wallet. It's the Lightning network. And I'm like, at some point, I can't teach everybody about the Lightning network. Like we have almost 20,000 users. And that's really the reason why we create the wallet, because then everybody can, is on the Lightning network without, even knowing about it. And so, yeah, I mean, that's how it's going to work. You update the app, we create the wallet for you. The seed phrase lives on your device. That means only you can see the seed phrase. And if you want, you can download it, upload it somewhere else. You can save it. And then the other thing is like, people, the balances on Club Orange is not like you have 1 Bitcoin or 2 or 3. You have maybe 10,000 sats or 5,000 sats or 100. It's really like pocket change. And so, if you delete the app, just so you know, if you delete, once you go self-custodial, if you delete the app, or if you change device and you don't save the seed phrase, you lose your sats. But it's, maybe it's 1,000 sats, it's 1,000 sats. And, but, we're going to make sure, we're going to make sure we tell everybody there's going to be tutorials. We're going to have Opti walking through every single one of you. They can call Opti on Club Orange. You can make calls on Club Orange now.
Okay. Yeah, dude, come on, bro. Don't
call Opti, please.
Dude, do not. Yo, don't do that. Service. Don't do that. Dude, oh man, bro.
Yeah, it's gonna be beautiful, man. It's gonna be
damn
beautiful.
Matteo. Now my phone's really gonna blow up. All right, my phone's on do not disturb forever here on out. So
airplane mode.
Yeah, airplane mode forever. Okay, guys. Sheesh, Matteo. This is, bro. What are you doing to me? I'm already losing my mind. Don't have everyone call me now. This is horrible. This is my nightmare happening in real time. I barely pick up my friends and family's calls, dude. Jeez.
I know, but your Bitcoin friends are worth more than your fiat friends. Right?
I mean, it's true. I do talk to my Bitcoin friends probably more than my family, which is probably not the best thing, but it's literally a fact. But Matteo, I do have again, not to get too technical here, but for people that are currently using Orange Pill app and they have some sats there, again, the transition is going to be seamless for them. So they don't have to like send their Lightning out and then send it back in. It's just going to be as it was before.
Yeah. So yeah, again, let's go even deeper in these details of the new wallet. What's going to happen? You have a balance. You update the app. We create a wallet, which is self-custodial for you. The seed phrase is on your device. And you're going to have an address, right? Like the address is going to stay opti@cluborange.org. And then we take the balance of your custodial wallet, which obviously means we were holding the sats for you. We take that balance and we automatically send it to your self-custodial wallet. So literally, there is nothing to do for the user, literally. We're just going to take the sats from your custodial wallet to your self-custodial wallet, and then it's your wallet.
That's amazing. That's awesome, bro.
Yes.
That's cool. I've seen a lot of, I forget which one it is, but I saw another recent huge announcement of another, I think, was it Wallet of Satoshi that went to Spark or?
Yes.
Yeah, actually, right. They're using Spark.
They were the first. Yeah, they were the first to, I think, adopt Spark, which is how they'll be able to come back to the US. And so, yeah, I mean, that's a good point. You could then, once it's self-custodial and you have the seed phrase, you can take that seed phrase, go to Wallet of Satoshi, and import the wallet there. And then you see the same balance on Wallet of Satoshi. And
oh, really?
Orange.
Wow.
Yeah, it's and then you can send the sat, and every time you send the sats from Club Orange or Wallet of Satoshi, the balance are gonna update automatically.
Okay.
So it's
All
gonna
right.
be very. I mean, it's the way it should be. It's the way it should be.
Wow. It's Club Orange building the iPhone moment for Lightning here. I think that might be a stretch. I know we're trying to get more people to use Bitcoin, but it seems like the ease and convenience factor really goes into the conversation we were talking about Lightning earlier. It does seem to have come a long way. Now, you don't have to be a hardcore, Bitcoiner technical developer to get a Lightning node up. I remember when the Lightning Torch happened. I forget what year it was, like 2021 or something like that. I was so frustrated. I was trying to set up a Lightning node, and I could barely code, like hello world. Like that's as far as my coding went, and I was trying to set up a Lightning node, and I forget what something dropped. Actually it was Pierre Rochard's, he had that like script for a Lightning node, and I literally just like put in the script and it like did all the stuff for me, and so I was able to do the Lightning Torch. So that was good times. I completely forgot how to do any of that. So I'm happy that Lightning is now, hey, I just download an app and I start using Bitcoin, because it's hard having a 42 IQ in this world, but I'm surviving. I'm surviving here daily. I don't know how it's happening, but we're making it day to day here, Matteo. But
That's
anyways,
amazing.
yeah,
But
it's
now
a
with
rough
the
world.
eyes, now with the eyes, it's you might be able to code more than Hello World, I think.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe.
So,
I don't know. The AI stuff is, I hear everyone with the claw bots. I don't know.
oh man.
I'm like, dude, I do not need another hobby where I'm looking at the computer all day. I'm like, I need to go outside. Okay. I know it's like a one-time thing, but I don't know. That's above my IQ level. Anyways,
Yeah.
Matteo, to wrap up the show, any other things you want to mention? Actually, let's just plug Club Orange real quick. Where can they find it? Can they reach out to you? All that good stuff. If they have some feedback, let's do the final plug and we'll wrap up today's show.
Well, cluborange.org is the website. And then App Store, whatever phone you have, App Store, Google Play Store. You can get the APK file on the website if you want to download the binary file, Club Orange. You can reach me on Club Orange. Obviously, it's my name and last name. You can also reach Opti on Club Orange. Very important.
Yeah, but don't call me, guys, please.
Video
I'll
call.
respond to the DMs, but bro, if I literally, Matteo, if I get phone calls, I'm gonna crash out so hard. I'm gonna lose my mind.
Oh man.
DM me, please. No phone calls. For the love of God, please.
You can
actually
do video messages.
maybe. Yeah, actually, maybe I need to do reverse psychology here. Yes, call me. Definitely call me, please. I really enjoy you calling me. I'm gonna get cooked. Damn.
Oh man. And yeah, I mean, it's what is Club Orange? It's a way to meet Bitcoiners. It's a social network, which means there is no media to scroll and get lost in time. You find Bitcoiners, you meet them, you go to the, we have the largest database of events in the world, 800 events, Bitcoin only events. We filtered them. We verify they're Bitcoin events. So basically, you can find events anywhere you go. We now have merchants. You can go and spend the sats, which you should do, by the way, instead of just, hoarding them. Just spend those sats, buy and replace, don't be, join the Bitcoin parallel economy. And there's a wallet, Did we talk about the wallet or not?
Yeah.
Did we talk about the wallet?
Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't think we did.
Right. So there's a wallet. It's self-custodial soon. Anyway, yeah, it's kind of like, it's the reason why I built this app, in case you wanted to know Opti, which I'm sure you did, is because I was lonely. I was a lonely Bitcoiner, Nobody wanted to hear about Bitcoin, especially when it crashed in 2022 from like 69 to 17, 16, whatever it was. And, I'm like, let's build an app to find Bitcoiners, because there was no other way to find Bitcoiners. Twitter, you don't know where people are. And I went to a meetup in LA, and I went to a meetup in LA, and half of the people were not in Bitcoin. And I'm like, what a waste. So I'm driving.
Yeah, I've done that.
Driving back home. Yeah, you've done that. Yeah.
In the early days, like 2018 era, I went to like a Bitcoin meetup back home, and I go and they're like talking about shit coins the whole time. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? This is garbage.
It's wild. Yeah. And that's really where I got the idea. I'm like, I can't go to a meetup. People on Twitter, I don't know where they are. So there's, there wasn't a way to find local Bitcoiners. So that's the kind of the incipit of Club Orange. And it worked. It worked. We have almost 20,000 members. Everybody has to pay, so we don't get the bots, which obviously is going to be a huge problem going forward. We don't get the shitcoiners. We don't get the spammers. We don't get the scammers. We don't get people that don't want to reply to DMs. So,
yo, bro, dude, I'm getting cooked here. You're telling everyone to call me now, and I'm getting put on blast. Jeez.
No, but joking aside, the paywall is kind of like Bitcoin. If you want to use the network, you gotta pay the fees, which it's very low, but one day might be higher, and it's $3 a month. It's very low, but we filter out the noise. So it's very high signal. Everybody's super friendly. Everybody wants to meet and, build a business or become friends. There are people going camping, people that have learned to fly on Club Orange. There's a pilot that's just teaching people to fly. It's quite incredible. It's quite incredible. Opti's gonna have a busy day. It's gonna have a busy month. What do you mean, day?
Dude, my life is now more busy than ever thanks to Matteo.
Oh man. So yeah, that's Club Orange. It's about going outside instead of being online all the time, and building these local communities around Bitcoin. That's what we do.
Let's go, Matteo. I do want to read a couple of questions or comments from Rumble. I can't pull them up, but we have JN240750. He goes, yes, I think some words are gone. I'm going to find more retailers that accept Bitcoin. I think he missed a couple of words there. So, he loves that. And then we have Mr. Robot Zero, and he goes, this is how Bitcoin wins. Self-custody and transacting Bitcoin is just as seamless as any fiat transaction. So they love what you're doing, Matteo. So it's been a minute, man. I appreciate you coming on, even though you roasted me, and now I'm going to get phone calls, but it's all love. Okay. It's all love, bro. So thank you so much for coming on today's show. On that note, guys, you already know the deal. We'll be back tomorrow, roughly 12:40 p.m. Eastern time, for another show of Simply Bitcoin Live. Like Matteo said, get outside, get in public, get off the computer. There's real people out there. Make sure you're stacking sats, eating good food. Go touch some grass, guys. Get a workout and get a walk in. Let's make sure we're healthy and beautiful so that you can turn every app into a dating app. I know I can't, but it is what it is. Maybe you guys can. So Matteo, again, thank you so much. Everyone out there,
see you soon.
You already know, we appreciate you. We love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Good night.
Today's episode was brought to you by BitcoinWell.com, a Bitcoin-only platform on a mission to enable financial independence.